الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. Assalamu alaikum. Today for Kubar, a reflection of Shahada. Shahadatain, A'udhu Billahi Min Shaitanir Rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. That I bear witness that there's no God but the Allah, and bear witness that Prophet Muhammad is the seal of the prophets. And as Muslims, when we take our Shahada, when we take our oath, we take our public announcement that we believe in the oneness of Allah and believe that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings forever be upon him, was the seal of the prophets. That does not shut the door on our life and our duty to be decent people. That is an announcement that I will continue to uphold the line against wrongs of humanity in the same manner that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, did. Islam is not simply about believing, but Islam is about action. And today, this Kupar focuses on the action of justice. For those who came into Islam through the I'll call it the doorway, the experience of what was called the Nation of Islam, they were told that Islam is freedom, justice, and equality. It was the promise that is made in American propaganda to its citizens that is something that was not experienced by those who are not white living here in America. If we look at the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, and the Sahaba and the early community, the early Ummah, we will see that Islam brought them freedom, justice, and equality. In the Quran, in Surah An-Nisa, it brought revolutionary changes to the treatment of women, which brought them justice in a society at that time that was barbaric. It had a barbaric tradition of burying infant female babies before they even have a chance to live. They were murdered and other gross injustices. But in the Quran and Surah An-Nisa, women were given a justice. Not only did demand that Surah demand the rights of women to live, but also gave women the right to divorce, the right to be educated, the right to inherit, and so much more. And within Surah An-Nisa, we are given directives as believers to stand for justice. And Surah An-Nisa, the reason I'm saying English, O you who believe, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it's against yourselves, your parents, or your relatives. Even against yourself, your parents, or your relatives, you must stand for justice. And this is in our holy book, brothers and sisters, in which we are to follow. It directs us to be justice, be justice advocates, to not sit by, to not idle. And in the hadith, one of the hadiths of Prophet Muhammad, uh, person said, whenever you see evil, let you change it with your hand. If you're not able to do so, change it with your tongue. If he's still not able to do that, then change it within his heart. And that is the weakest of faith. We're giving direct instructions of what to do when we see an injustice. Not to sit by idle, not to do nothing, but use your hand, say something, or at least in your heart, feel it. And that's the weakest. And reflect on that. It says, whoever sees an evil, change it with his hand. What does that mean? What can that mean? And my reflection of it and an interpretation, it says you can get directly involved, intervene. You see somebody in a fight, see my game, but you can literally put yourself in the middle, separate them, get the person who's being the aggressive to stop. Or you could simply, we look at actions, non-violent actions that were taken during the civil rights movement, of just sitting down, sitting at a lunch counter. That was a direct action that they took. And don't discount the actions and sacrifices of those who sat down for, in relation to those who were standing up against the injustice of Jim Crow in the United States. For simply sitting, the Greensboro Four, who was in North Carolina, is a picture of four men sitting, young men, they was like in the early 20s. They just sat down. And for them sitting down, they were outcasted by the society. News cameras showed up, but soon as that was gone, they were castrated from being able to benefit from that society. They had to leave to have careers. They had to leave Greensboro, very similar to the Muslim Ummah in the time of Prophet Muhammad had to leave Medina. No, sorry, leave Mecca to Medina. So for those who had sacrificed during that time, it seems like maybe they're not going to get nothing for it. They had to leave, but with them, their names are forever etched in history. And in the future, when people are looking for those who have sacrificed for a better society, their names are going to be etched in history for those in the future are going to be able to pray for them. They did something today for them. Yes, it's yesterday, but it was at one time a today. In 100 years from now, alhamdulillah. 200 years. 300. Long gone, but somebody's able to pray for themselves. Pray for the benefit that they've put in this society. And this is taking action with their hand. And also, if he's not able to do so, let him change it with his tongue. Speaking up and complaining about injustice that has been done when one is unable to stand up and take action, is not physically able to do so or lack the courage to do so, is something that in today's society is relatively easy to do. In America, at least, it's easy to do. You have social media, you have the First Amendment that allows you to speak up. And by simply being on your phone, you can speak up and see something and say something that you see. Now with the capabilities of recording, you record the injustice. Recording the injustice has led to changes of because people did not have or wanting to bear their eyes to the truth was right there. But when the recording they could not ignore it. And that is as another form of using your tongue. And in the foundation of this country, the First Amendment is for you to be to speak up against the injustice. And that's part sparse that Hadith speaks to. If he's not able to do so, then with his heart. Everyone who has compassion in their hearts should feel bad when they see an injustice. And if they're not going to say anything or do anything, they should not be participants in the injustice. That is the bare responsibility of being a Muslim. Not participating in injustice, doing what needs to be, just being a decent person, not wavering one way or another towards justice or injustice. And the hadith closes with, and that is the weakest of faith. That could be a whole book by itself. And that is the weakest of faith. And that closing line is heavy. To me, it means that my interpretation of it is that if you're not doing one of those three things that are outlined in that hadith, if you're not changing evil with your hand, if you're not doing it with your tongue, if you're not feeling bad about it in your heart, then you are, one way or another, participating in that oppression. As it says, saying that silence is complacency. Complacency is a form of the oppression. Whether or not you call yourself a Muslim or not, if you're not doing one of those things, then you are on oppression. And may Allah have mercy on you. And with fighting injustice, you're fighting something that's unnatural, something that's evil, something that's a sickness. And it's something you should approach it as somebody who's going through a mental issue. You're not going to hate that person, hate the actions of. In the Quran, Surah Ma'idah, Ayat 8, O believers, stay firm for Allah and bear true testimony. Do not let the hatred of a people lead you to injustice. Be just, that is closer to righteousness. Be mindful of Allah. Surely Allah is aware of all that you do. It's easy when you're not mindful of what's going on. And alhamdulillah, we're going to approach the month of Ramadan within this week. That helps us, stay grounded. But without control over who you are and knowing what you stand in and what you're standing for, you can easily find yourself consumed with hate, with anger against the person who's oppressing you. And it's very easy to do that when you're living in a situation of constant oppression. But you cannot let this hate consume you. When dealing with someone or something that's committing an act of injustice, you cannot let their hate lead to you hating them. When that person is not thinking about you, you're going to be angry. When you be using your time to make the situation better, you will just sit and be angry when you could be leaving that oppression. You will instead be trapped because you are angry. And with that, it turned to one of the hadiths again for Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. When a man came to him for advice, he simply told him, do not get angry. The man asked again, responded again, do not get angry. And the third time the man asked, the Prophet, peace and blessings upon him, responded, do not get angry. So much, so little words, but it's heavy. As in being able to control your anger and not let it consume you. But instead of you letting the anger consume you, you can use it as fuel. Use that anger that you see from seeing or experiencing injustice as fuel to stop the injustice. You cannot sit and let injustice continue forever. And before you know it, you'll have a new generation that has grew up and lived in that injustice and will think that injustice is normal. Who will believe that that is a way of life. Who would think that's the way things are supposed to be. Growing up, I thought living in a neighborhood with a heavy police, having stores and only have the hood stores with the hood snacks was normal. Until I lived in Orlando for a year, I was looking around like, where the police? Where the flaming hot Cheetos? I can't find them. But that oppression that was in Indianapolis is not normal. It's something that we shouldn't let continue in ferment because it becomes a way of life. And the oppression becomes a way of life when one can be able to stand up and fight against that injustice, because injustice is not normal. There's something inside of you that lets you know that it ain't right. And society tends to beat that out of you. You got to continue to fight. And we must fight in accordance, to the Quran and the life example of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And remember, do not get angry. Do not get angry. Do not get angry. Instead, get justice. Get justice. Get justice. Assalamu alaikum. And so within our society, we see injustice so often that we tend to become immune to it. It's on the TV, or it's been going on for so long that you think that it's normal. But I advise everyone here, especially during this upcoming month of Ramadan, think about justice. When you're hungry, think about how many people are hungry on a regular basis. And then when you're hungry and you see there's food there, you're using your discipline to not eat it. Think about the people who are in life situations and see the solution to their problem right in front of them, but they denied access to that solution. Thousands of homeless people, thousands of vacant homes. You have people who will be renters for 30 plus years because they cannot get approved for a loan. they paid for 2 or 3 houses. 2 or 3 they paid for. I can go on for 2 hours. But I won't. But really, think about that during this time of Ramadan. Think about those who cannot uh, fight for themselves. And if you're in a situation where you feel as if you can't, think about Prophet, peace and blessing upon him, and those who were with him during early times. They faced injustice. They took action. They left when they needed to. They fought. And we have a great example of what we need to do in the life example of our prophet.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, hayya ala falah. Come to salah, come to salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina sirata mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله صمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمدا. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والعصر إن إنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله
الله أكبر. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم.
صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. آمين. المسلم تكبير تكبير.
الله أكبر.
Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم
I
السلام.
don't know if we have any announcements or not, but Ramadan should come in on the 22nd, which means sunset, and we begin fasting on the 23rd. It's always the night before day. So we're going to be looking for reports because we try to do the visual sighting. Some communities just do a calculation. They know we like to be involved, keep ourselves involved. So, but we'll see. Thanks, alhamdulillah, to my son, wonderful football, very insightful, justice. I guess that's the right kind of topic from the lawyer, right? Talk about justice, so alhamdulillah. And so I'll say this much, but he's fighting the case right now. He probably should justice. He cut two more cars, one your mother just pulled in. So, alhamdulillah. Um, Sunday, I'll be in Cincinnati for dinner. The blog talk on Tuesday will be our last tally. We're going to talk on lead. Lead. This way, put the marker on this marker. Right here. This will be our topic. The lamb. Lead. That's it. Okay. And we're going to talk about Ramadan too. The lead. Alhamdulillah. Lillahi. Very important word. Very important word. Alhamdulillah. So that'd be Tuesday at 7. Phone number, put on the board here in a minute. That's all that I know about announcements. I'm assuming there may be weekend school Sunday. Not heard anything different. I will let everyone know. Are there any other announcements? Alhamdulillah, we do have it on Facebook, your stream, and on the internet. So those who missed it, they can go online and catch it, inshallah, God willing. Okay. I can't think of any more announcements. Please get the Wilson Journal. guess you just take them, they're paid for, but we need to have a better distribution of the paper. There's somebody out there that could benefit from the paper, I guarantee you that. Okay, that's all I can think of right now. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all for your support. Turn this off.
Yes, yes, yes.